In less than a year and a half, Vanessa was able to start and scale her very own print-on-demand business on Etsy from 0 sales all the way up to 10,000 items sold, which is over $350,000 of actual revenue. Her story is super, super inspiring, but also she shares so many good tidbits and strategies that you can implement in your own store today if you're not finding the success that you want just yet. But if you are here and you don't know what print-on-demand is, print-on-demand is a process where you create designs for items that you can sell, like shirts, mugs, or ornaments. And when someone actually purchases those designs, that's when your print-on-demand company like Printify actually prints those items and ships them to your customer for you. So while working a full-time job, she was able to sell 10,000 items in the last year and a half without having to actually make anything herself. So I do have a link for Printify down in the description if you haven't signed up for an account with them yet. And let's go ahead and dive right in and talk with Vanessa. All right, hello, Vanessa. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me. You have accomplished so much in your little print-on-demand business in your first year and a half. And I'm so excited for you to share what steps you took to get there so that the people watching right now can find their own success as well. So how are you?
Good, thank you. And I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much. And all this success is thanks to you. So thank you.
Oh my goodness, you are so sweet. It is absolutely all the hard work that you've put into it, but I'm glad that I've been able to help in even a teeny tiny way along your journey. So let's just dive right into it. So I thought it'd be really fun if we broke up your interview into little sections, because now that you've sold 10,000 items in your store, that might feel a little bit unobtainable to someone who's sitting here watching and they're struggling to get their first sale or even their first 100 sales. So I'd like to start there. And why don't you talk to us a little bit about what your journey looked like to get from 0 sales all the way up to 100 sales, and what you think that you did really well during that time that helped you get to that point?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my husband and I opened the store or the shop because we really wanted to get to that financial freedom state in our life. So we started researching and we got into the POD. And I started watching a lot of YouTube videos looking for some information. I had no idea about any of this. And we started researching the marketplaces. I thought Etsy was a really good idea. And then I found you on YouTube. We actually opened the shop using your mini course. And we really liked you and the way you were teaching, and decided to join the coaching group and completed the course. So one of the first learnings that we had was that we actually listed a couple of listings, and we made them about what we like it. It's like, we like this design, right? And we were very happy. So then when we started taking the classes and going through the course, we realized very soon that it wasn't about us, but it was about the customers and what was in demand and why they wanted. So then we started all the research, which can feel a little bit overwhelming at the beginning. A lot, actually, but then you get the rhythm of things. And once you start listing and really get your mindset and make that your goal, it gets easier over time.
No, that makes a ton of sense. I think there is a lot to learn right in the beginning. I know you went through my course, the POD roadmap, and you went through something called the 6-figure research method, which I know is not for the faint of heart. I make you do a lot of homework, but hopefully it helped to learn really what your competitors are doing, what goes into a really good listing. And so how long do you think it took you then to get to 100 sales?
I think it took us around 3 months, right? So we had our first couple of organic sales almost a month after opening the shop, and then around 3 months. And so it was great. And we actually did it because we followed a couple of your great advices. And the first one was doubling down on what was working. So we had one listing or one design that really took off. And then we started listing different products and changed them a little bit, but really keeping the main theme. So it worked. Then we started getting requests from customers about customizing that particular design. And one of your advices throughout the course is that we had to listen our customers. And if the design was something that we could list or post after that customization or doing that customization for the customer, then we would have to do it. And we followed that and we did it. And that was how we got our second bestseller.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think doubling down on what works is a lesson that took me a while to learn on my own. And I learned that by someone doing a really similar design to me, but doubling down and putting it on lots of different products and colors and different styles. And they had like 6 bestsellers to my 1. So hopefully the people watching this can learn that lesson the easy way and start doubling down earlier like you did, because I think that can make a really, really big difference. And do you have any idea, Vanessa, I forgot to ask you this beforehand, do you have any clue about how many listings that you had to actually post to get to like around that 100 sales mark?
I would say definitely more than 100. I would say around 500. We really started seeing a difference in visibility after the 500 listings. Yes.
Wow. So you were really putting in the work there in the beginning in your first 3 months to get 500 listings done. What did that look like for you and your husband? Were you listing every single day, every single week? Like, what did that look like?
Well, honestly, actually every single weekend, because we both worked full time. So during the week, we couldn't do that much, just the research piece. And then designing and listing, those were our weekends for a few months. So it was a lot of work, but definitely worth it.
Well, and I think it's great to hear you say that it's worth it now, but I know that in the moment when you're putting all that time in every weekend for 3 months, 100 sales isn't that much profit yet, but you knew at that time that it was going to keep growing. So you really doubled down on what was working. You listened to your customer and posted things that they asked for. You listed a ton really consistently every single week. I think those are all really great tips to someone just getting started and knowing that it might take you 500 listings. I know that's a hard thing to hear. I wish that it was less work that you might have to do. But then after that, I know it took you, I think you said, between 5 to 8 months to hit 5,000 sales. That is such a big jump from 100. So let's talk a little bit about what that time frame looked like. After hitting 100 sales and getting all the way up to 5,000 sales, what are some of the things that you really learned and had to hone and do right during that time to really make those sales?
One of the biggest things, like, it was Q4, right? So that was our first Q4. So sales were really, really great. And basically those few listings that took off were the ones that gave us the biggest amount of sales. After that, January hit. And we realized that we needed to kind of change the strategy. Of course, always continue to do the research, see what was selling and adding value, as you know. And then we did the shop review, also the pricing review, and that really helped us to look at what we were doing from a different perspective than when we started, like 5-6 months ago. So that shop review was really, really helpful. Of course, all the support that we got from the community, right? Especially, and I forgot to mention that at the beginning, because when you're listing, sometimes you feel like this is not going to work, that is, it's not going to work for you. And really having that community and that support, not only from you, but from all the others that have been before us or even at the same time, right? And those who join after us. So that's great. And in our journey, we felt very much supported. And every time we had questions, we didn't know what to do, we would just go to chat and ask the questions. So that was really, really good, especially because we had no idea, right? This is we didn't know how to do this at the beginning. We just jumped in and did it and took the risk. So after January hit and sales went down, we took that time, and following your advice too, of really looking at things, continue to do the research, see what worked, and we added customization. And we were really afraid of that, and group listings. And that also completely transformed the dynamic. We got more favorites, we got more sales. So we kind of like combined everything that was working, the style designs, everything that we got from the research. We also, we redid the research spreadsheet and look at it from another perspective, right? After those 6 months, and worked on some changes that we needed to do according to that new research, and started adding the customization piece.
Yeah, I know the personalized or custom listings can be intimidating. So for anyone who hasn't tried doing those yet that's watching this, I know that it can be intimidating to do those, but the reason why there's so much money in those is because you can buy a Merry Christmas shirt at Walmart, right? But what you can't buy is a custom grandma shirt with your grandkids' names on it. You know, that's something that people have to come to a place like Etsy for. And so there is so much more money in that, because most people doing print on demand aren't willing to do the harder things like group listings with different designs on each one, or customization with custom names or dates or addresses. And so it really can make a big difference. I know it's scary, but Vanessa's sitting here, she was scared, and she's saying that it changed her business. So I hope that as you're watching this, you really realize how much of a difference that can make. I know it feels like a small thing that, oh, I can just skip that and it's no big deal. But group listings are something that absolutely changed my business forever, along with customization. So I know that I'm probably like a broken record in our private community for the POD roadmap. And I'm like, have you done personalization? Have you done group listings? But it really does work. And so that really helped you get to the 5,000 sales. So I think that makes a ton of sense. You got there, and then now in the beginning of January, you got the shop review from Coach Sam, which, just for anyone watching, I don't do shop reviews here on my channel. There's just too many wonderful people. But within my private community, I do have my full-time coach, Sam, who does the shop reviews, and that's what Vanessa's talking about. So Sam did a shop review for Vanessa, looked at her shop, looked at her listings, and told her what she could be doing better. So that is a service that is available within the private community if you want it. And so then after that, you made some changes. And then now we know, so that was in January. Here we are in October, and you've now hit 10,000 sales, and we're not even really into this year's quarter four or Christmas season yet. So I have a sneaking suspicion you'll be way, way higher than that by the end of the year, which is super exciting. But let's talk a little bit about what this year has looked like then. What do you think has really made the difference between January and now that's really helped you scale your business to the $350,000 revenue that you've sold now?
Yeah, well, definitely adding value to whatever that is selling well. Looking for those opportunities to add value to the customers, which is also one of your advices. So that's what we did. Trend reports are amazing. Thank you for those. And that really helped us to see what's working, right? Like besides our own research. So thank you for helping us with that and doing it for us. So we added value. Also continue with that personalization. We revised our pricing strategy based on Coach Sam advice. And yeah, and we were better prepared this year. So for Mother's Day, Father's Day, we were better prepared. So we got the results we were looking for. So that got us to that 10,000 sales mark.
That's amazing. And you don't have to give us exact numbers because, for anyone who's watching, I don't share anyone's Etsy listings or Etsy shops here on my channel, but I hope you are getting so much value from these nuggets that Vanessa is sharing. But do you want to give us an idea of, okay, you started from 0 listings, 0 sales, and then we know you had to do about 500 listings to get to around that 100 sales mark. Give us a ballpark of how many listings you think you've had to make in the last year and a half during your print-on-demand journey.
Definitely over 3,000 listings, I would say. Yeah.
That's a lot of listings. I get messages all the time and people are like, I did everything you said and I'm not getting sales. And I look at their store and they have 40 listings and they've been at it for a year. And don't get me wrong, we all have different amounts of time to put into it. If that's all you really have time for, I totally understand. But just know that it's going to take you longer to get the kind of results that Vanessa has because you haven't put in as much work as Vanessa. 3,000 listings in a year and a half is just so many. Like, let's even see. Okay, I'm just curious. 3,000 listings divided by, let's say, 16 months. That's like 187 listings a month divided by 30 days. That's like you doing 6 listings every single day for a year and a half straight.
Yeah, and we actually had a goal of 300 per month. But some months we were able to, especially at the beginning of the year when it's slower. But others we couldn't. But yeah, we really stayed focused every single weekend.
Wow. Yeah, no, that is dedication. That's commitment. And I think that really speaks to your why. You and your husband really had a goal of being financially free, and you understand that it takes time and research and hard work and dedication to get there. And I think you should just be so proud of what you've done. I think that's amazing. Well, let's see what else kind of value we can give to our wonderful viewers watching to see if they can kind of replicate your success. So if you're not in my print-on-demand roadmap group, then you might not know what Vanessa was talking about when she mentioned my trend reports. So every single month I release about an hour-long video of me going over what holidays you should be designing for in advance, what some undersaturated niches are that you could design for right now, some niches that have sold a ton in the last 2 or 3 months when they were first listed, and some trending design styles that are really popular right now. And if you're not in my group, you can do this research yourself. I spend a couple days a month scrolling through using the Everbee Chrome extension, the top listings that have been posted in the last 3 months or so, and really looking through like 10,000 listings to see what kind of trends I'm seeing, what's in common, and finding what's selling really well right now. But let's talk, Vanessa, because you said those helped you a lot. What about those trend reports do you think really made a difference for you?
Well, first of all, because we didn't have to spend that amount of time researching, right? So we used those trend reports to look at everything. And I love that you also provide different products, not only one, right? So that regardless of what we're selling or we want to sell, you will find something that will really help to whatever you are selling in your shop. And those, I mean, and you're so much better than us, right? You're an expert. So that's very valuable. And I've got sales, or we have got sales when we take action right away. So after you send that, like within days. So yeah. And also adding value as you teach us. Yeah.
Adding value is super important. And someone that's watching this that's brand new, they might not understand what adding value means. So let's talk a little bit about that. Obviously, you don't have to give us super specifics of ways that you add value. But can you give us a couple examples of things that you've learned about how to add value and what that looks like in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I have to mention personalization and group listings again, right? So when you look at a product that is selling very well, you will look for those key elements that you can improve upon, right? Like personalization is one of them. Also, if you can create a listing for a family or for friends, a girls trip, whatever that might be, depending on your niche. And also what are the key elements on that design that are trendy and that you can replicate in other niches, right? Also, something really great about those reports is this might sound silly, but it gives you hope and encouragement to try to break into the bigger niches, right? And we're afraid of those too. So we tend to look for those that are lower in competition. But sometimes when you list enough, you can break into those bigger niches, which are very profitable too.
Yeah, I hear that all the time. I'm glad you brought that up because I don't think it's bad advice to go after kind of like lower competition niches when you first get started. And that's what I see, in my opinion, is actually one of the biggest mistakes that new people make, is only going after lower competition niches. So I see a lot of people avoiding things like mama shirts, teacher shirts, nurse designs, like the big ones. Like, you're never going to find a listing that's a year old with 10,000 sales for an assistant principal. They're just not. There's not enough people that are going to want to buy those. But every day, and like I'm really glad you said that about the trend report, I'm showing designs where the shirt just says mama, but it's in a current trending up to date style, and it's sold 160 times in its first month. And that's the power of adding value, but still going after those big niches. And I know I have to really talk some people into it and really twist their arm to get them to start listing in these big niches. But I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I do think that is a big mistake that people make in the beginning. And so I'm really glad that you shared that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was one of them. I was like really scared. I thought it wasn't going to be worth the effort, but yeah, it is worth it. And once you get those key elements and learn how to add value, which we do through our Your course, then it's a lot easier than if you don't know anything. So one of my biggest takeaway is that you're not alone. You can do it with an expert like you, and with such a great community with we all support each other. And yeah, so it's doable if you put the work. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely don't have to buy my course to be successful. All the things that Vanessa learned, 99% of it she could have learned by herself by just spending hours and hours and hours looking at Etsy listings like I have. So I'm so glad I could save you time, but it really is, like you said, about just doing the research, putting in the time, and just practicing. I saw a funny video online the other day, and it was like, I'm once again disappointed in the fact that trial and error includes error. I thought that was so true, that I feel like a lot of print-on-demand sellers know that it's going to take trial and error, but when you list 50 things and none of them sell, they're like, oh, this just must not work. But I really hope that Vanessa's story here shows you that someone brand new who knew nothing could get started, and just with a lot of elbow grease and hard work and a good coach, you can absolutely get there. So I really appreciate you joining me, Vanessa. I think this was really valuable and super, super helpful. So anyone watching, feel free to put your questions in the comments below if there was more things that you wanted to know from Vanessa. But any last words from you, any other words of wisdom or things that you think someone just getting started, if they're feeling discouraged, not getting the sales they want, too scared to get started, what you'd say to them?
Well, they just have to do it. Just do it and focus on listening and learning, and you will get there. Yes, there are going to be moments where you will think that this is not for you, that you won't make it, that Etsy is super saturated, but it is not. There is a space for all of us. That's something that Cassie says too, and it's absolutely true. I went through the same phase. We were tired. We thought this is not going to work. I mean, we have had so many months where we didn't meet our goal, but it's worth it. Just put the work, stay focused, and you will make it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Vanessa. I appreciate your time. And maybe we can follow up with you next year after seeing how your Q4 this year went.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for all that you do for us, Cassie. Thank you.
Of course. Bye.